Hey, my name's Tom Calton. I'm a professional portrait photographer, videographer, and YouTuber, and I've just opened up a brand new studio here in Peterborough in the UK, so I'm going to take you for a quick tour and show you about the place. But first, thank you very much to Synco for sponsoring this episode by providing us with a pair of G2 Lavalier mics. So if you like the audio quality in this video, be sure to check out Synco using the link in the description below. So the first area you're greeted by when you come into the studio is our lifestyle area. So not only is this a cool place for your clients to chill out, for you to have client meetings, but I also wanted it to be a potential extra area to shoot in. So I definitely am not an interior designer, but I wanted to have a very minimalist, mid-century modern kind of vibe. We have added splashes of color, mainly green, but the rest of the studio you'll probably notice is heavily monochrome, black and white. It also helps from a practical standpoint as well, because it means that when you're shooting, you don't get any sort of color cast or anything like that. Everything's very neutral. And I've been collecting retro cameras over the years, and so I thought this is a great opportunity to sort of feature those in the studio as well. So you'll probably see a load of those dotted around as we go around. One of the small details I should mention is we went to the effort of adding frosting to both this small window and the door, because we didn't want to completely block them out so that we couldn't get any natural light in, but we did want to make sure that this space was nice and private and you can lock the door, and you know, if you're having a lingerie shoot or something out there, you're not going to get the landlord fapping at the window. So moving on from the lifestyle area, you can see we've got our model sort of makeup, chill out area. First thing is we've got a nice big hanging rail here with loads of coat hangers on. So not only can models put loads of clothing choices on there, but at the very least your clients can come and hang their coat up. We've also got a trolley, which is kind of like the hub of the area. So not only can they use that to put makeup on, but you can wheel that out if you need to. We've also got charging points for phones, and we've got access to a Bluetooth speaker, because there's nothing worse than having a photo shoot going on and it's just deathly silent. Now, the kitchen area isn't all that exciting, but basically we wanted it to be nice and functional. Although we didn't have a massive area to work with, we just wanted to prioritize making everything super practical. Decent coffee machine, always important on a shoot, but also I wanted to make this client friendly as well. So the Philips one that we landed on is super simple to use. So moving on to the centerpiece of the studio, which is this custom-made 3x3 meter white infinity Cove. This was made by a good friend of mine who's a builder. He'd never made anything like this before, but he absolutely smashed it with this. It's all predominantly made out of MDF. Even the curves are made out of MDF, with the exception being torn a bit. That had to be plastered multiple times in order to get it a nice smooth finish. The only downside to having an infinity Cove is you can kind of see on the floor maybe that there's a lot of scuff marks. This will have to be repainted periodically. We have 6-meter high ceilings as well. So it means we can have super large boom stands. There's no real limitation as to how high you can get the lights up. There are also skylights in the ceiling, so if you do prefer shooting with natural light, you can do. We can also block them out if you prefer to just use artificial lighting and you want to have complete control. Right next to the Infinity Cove, we have our still life area and our background rolls. We've got a very basic tabletop, but this can be really easily and quickly moved away. And then you can roll down our 2-meter backdrops. We like using the Lavalier vinyl backgrounds just because they are super hard wearing. You can wipe them clean. We are eventually looking to expand to have loads of different colors, but for now, this is all we need. In terms of lighting, we have access to flash and video lighting because we're photographers and videographers. For the flash stuff, we've got 3 Pixapro City 600 Pro heads, which essentially are just UK branded Godox AD600s. They're the same thing, it's just Pixapros in the UK for some weird reason. And we have a whole wealth of light modifiers. One of my favorites is this Neewer 120 centimeter Octabox. Love this thing. It just absolutely fills the area with nice soft light. In terms of video lights, we do have some Godox SL60s, which are low powered continuous LED lights. But for the bulk of my video work, I love relying on the Weeylite Ninja 20. Super powerful, super quiet. It uses Bowen's S mount, which means that it can use the same modifiers as my Pixapro City 600s. Located right next to the backdrop area as well, we do have the big roller door. Now, one piece of feedback we got from a few photographers before we started building this place was that a lot of studios don't have the option to shoot with natural light. So we figured that we could utilize this roller door and make it a massive softbox essentially. You open it right up, and then in the evenings, the sun sets in that direction. It means you get tons of nice soft golden light coming in, and it's a really cool place to shoot. You also might have clocked that we have got a mezzanine installed into this unit, and that's basically where my business operates day to day. We also have my YouTube studio up there, so we'll go up now and have a look. When we were designing the space, we've made loads of different areas where you can hide stuff away so that you've just not got clutter and crap everywhere all of the time. So up there is a platform where we just basically hide stuff. Also got a load of IKEA storage, which is super, super handy. Loads of drawers where you can just hide stuff away and it's just out of sight, out of mind, and just means that we can keep the office clean and tidy. Well, as clean and tidy as possible, really. So when building the YouTube studio, we wanted to try and make it as soundproof as possible. So that means that the guys can be out here and chat and discuss and stuff, and people can be in the studio and make as much noise as they want without disturbing our recordings. First thing we did was set two doors in, and that's also been filled with insulation and soundproofing. I used to be a drummer back in the day. I used to play in a band, and I've always kept my drum kit and it's always been tucked away in the garage. Inevitably, it ended up being set up. So now this is part of the sound studio as well. We do occasionally have a bit of a jam at lunch. Most of the guys play instruments as well, so we sometimes just hang out and play some music. But behind me is the whole purpose of this room, really. It's the bit where we record all of the YouTube videos. So you probably immediately noticed the sound difference in here. It's so dead, there's no echo at all as opposed to out in the studio, but that's predominantly because this place is basically made of foam now. There's foam all over the ceiling, foam panels all over the wall, and that's all just to get rid of that reverb. In terms of the actual setup in here, it's a bit different to before. Last time we were just shot against a blue painted chipboard wall, so we were flat onto it with two Edison bulbs behind me to give me a bit of an orange rim light. This time we've decided to go into a corner to add a bit more depth to the scene. So on one side we've got this blue custom-made LED, which is the same as the one downstairs, just in a nice, bright, vibrant blue. And the idea there is that as you're looking at me on screen, on the left-hand side, I've got a blue rim light, and then that's balanced by this orange Edison bulb on the right-hand side. And then to light me, I have the Weeylite Ninja 300. Setting my camera's white balance to daylight means that the key light is a nice neutral white. The orange will look super orange, and the blue will look super blue. In terms of a light modifier on my Weeylite, I am using a very old and very banged up beauty dish. I wanted the light to look slightly harsher than it was before. Last time I was using that 120 centimeter Octabox that we had downstairs. I filmed my Sony A7 IVs. In the last studio we used a 35mm. It was the Sony G Master 35mm 1.4. Because it's a smaller space in here and there's quite a lot going on in the background, we now use a 20mm. I'm not shooting quite as wide open as I did before. I used to shoot at 1.4, now I shoot at f2 just so that we can get more of the background in focus. On the shelf behind me, I wanted to integrate some things that were kind of important to me. So far, we've got Paul's amp, which isn't special to me, but it's just a gap filler because eventually I want to have my YouTube silver play button in here. I specifically ordered shelves that will house a play button. You know, you gotta think positive, right? That's gonna happen one day, hopefully. On the shelf up, more importantly, is my granddad's old Polaroid SX70 land camera. This is his instant Polaroid camera that he used to use back in the day. He actually used to be a private investigator and a detective in the police force. So this has actually probably taken photos of like murder scenes and all sorts, which is kind of cool. Or maybe just dick pics. Who knows? This one is also my granddad's old box brownie from when he was a kid, which is pretty cool. He was a big fan of photography as well. Unfortunately, we never really got round to chatting about photography, but it's cool that he can be incorporated into this backdrop. So then, what do you think of the studio? I hope you've enjoyed it. It's taken us a hell of a long journey to get to here, but hopefully it's worthwhile. If you think so, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and let me know in the comments section like what your favorite part is, what you think we could possibly improve. We'd love to hear that. Also, if you're in the sort of Peterborough, Cambridgeshire region in the UK, you can hire this studio and we will be hosting local events regularly in the new year. So be sure to go to blackpoint.studio to find out or subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.